What was the stupidest thing someone has asked you 100% seriously? I'm a cook, and 2 years ago I worked in a pizza shop. There was a guy coming up to me and asked if the chicken pizza we have for the day's special is vegetarian. I just stood there dumbfounded. My co-worker managed to work his brain, for his answer was the chicken is vegetarian. Yes. The pizza is not. That particular chicken may have been vegetarian, but I can assure you most chickens are not vegetarians. So preparing this chicken pizza with a chicken that was vegetarian is not a full guarantee that you will have a vegetarian chicken pizza. If it were in fact a vegetarian chicken pizza, would you like barbecue sauce with that? Why don't you just, have a baby then? Asked just days after I miscarried my first baby. Why are you short? My high school theater director yelled that at me from the crowd during a rehearsal stage change where I couldn't flip something cause I am short. I called Beethoven cranky in a 7th grade music appreciation class and a student asked if I knew him, personally. I'm the idiot in this scenario. My family had taken a trip to Colorado, and we were flying home. We got on the plane and it ended up being delayed for 2 hours or more, but we were just stuck sitting on the plane. I leaned over to my husband, we'd only been married for a few months, I was 20 at the time, and asked what's going to happen to our luggage when it gets to destination before us. He was understandably confused, and asked what I meant. So I clarified by saying, the plane that has the luggage on it. What's going to happen? He just looked at me and said, you mean this plane? The luggage is loaded in this plane. And that's when I realized that my childhood assumption from watching Toy Story was very, very wrong, and there is, in fact, no separate luggage plane that only carries the luggage. I had a girl ask me if I knew if terrorists were going to bomb our school. I'm half Middle Eastern. How the frick should I know? Did she think I was going to have some inside knowledge on ISIS? That's called racism. Do ducks have 2 legs or 4? Not really a question, more like a conversation with a rhetorical question at the end. An old friend of mine was convinced that people spoke English in ancient Rome. His reasoning is that he saw the movie Pompeii and they all spoke English in the movie, so it must be real. I took Latin in school at that time, so I told him that I probably had a better understanding of what they spoke than him. His response: Latin is a real language? It can't be. I thought it was dead. This was around 8th grade. Do girls eat their tampons? I said it depends on the girl. Now this guy is just gonna think that until corrected. Had a class concerning neurology. Our instructor explained that in stroke management time is literally brain. The longer you wait the more brain cells get lost, so treat as early as possible. The girl behind me tapped me on the shoulder and asked me if in such cases we would have to be in hospital before 9 AM. I laughed at first, because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. She also didn't pass in the end. Are you really American? Asked by my friend who wasn't convinced I was really American, because I didn't have a white family member. She thought only white people were American. I'm Asian. I'm a dog groomer and we had a new bather hired. She was bathing a female Chihuahua mix. She quickly came to ask us about a tumor on the dog, if she was okay to be groomed, because it looked exposed. We go check it out and she's handling the dog's vulva, desperately asking us what it was. The look on her face when we had to explain it was not a tumor, but in fact the dog's vagina almost killed me. If the world was black and white in the past. Me and my sister were at the state fair and people were around the park were handing out maps of the entire park. And we starting walking and got lost and my sister opened the map and asked where is the "you are here" sign. And I'm like, this is a portable map, it doesn't know where you are at all times. I was actually the asker, but I was tutoring a girl, 19 years old, who had failed the lowest math offered at our college, top 50 in the US for mathematics. She was retaking it and I was in Calc 2. She gave me the typical "I don't know where I'll ever use math in my major, criminal justice." I was explaining how if she became a cop and passed someone going the opposite way, if she clocked them at 80 miles per hour and she was driving 40 miles per hour, that their speed equaled the clocked speed minus her own, or simply 80/40. I wrote out the equation and looked at her waiting for her to solve it and noticed her eyes glazed over with confusion. I hesitantly asked can you add and subtract? She stared at me for about 3 seconds before she said, yeah, I can do that. She could not. But she had money so the school took her. So you know how there's a species of jellyfish that are immortal, and you know how people have used jellyfish DNA on an animal to make it glow? Why don't we use jellyfish DNA to make us immortal? What is a paragraph? He was grade 10. Are you sure that's how you pronounce your name? My college professor a few years ago. I was 19 at the time. Relatively certain I hadn't been pronouncing my name wrong for forever. How can you be an atheist when it says God exists in the Bible? Now that's a whole new level of stupidity. I was with friends talking about how to pronounce the word pecan and somebody asked us if we were talking about the fruit or the animal. I have twins, a boy and a girl. I have been asked too many times if they are identical. But the stupidest thing I've been asked is what made you decide to have twins. Biology. Visitor. Is someone coming to get my luggage? Me. No. Visitor. What am I going to do with my luggage? Me. Take it with you. Visitor. Me. Smile. I was not joking. During the 2002 World Cup in Japan and South Korea, my friend in his house in England squinted at the screen, looked outside, looked back at the TV and asked how come it's raining there and not here. We were 15. Customer. What's the difference between a cheeseburger and a hamburger? Me. The hamburger doesn't have cheese. Customer. That's it? I wish I could tell you this happened once, but I've been asked this question many times. I asked my mother what grapes are made out of. As a 16-year-old, not a kid. My mouse is at the end of the mousepad, but I need to move the cursor more to the right. What do I do? Asked to me by a computer science major in college. I kid you not. A former co-worker came up to me pale-faced and asked me, I think I'm going to be a dad. Last night me and my stepsister were dry humping each other and I'm scared. Can a girl get pregnant by me dry humping her? So my first reaction naturally is to laugh like crazy. He looks like even more color is draining from his face. Then it hit me, this dude is ducking serious. In college I worked in retail as a store sales associate. My store was having a seasonal sale on winter accessories, gloves, hats, scarves, etc. And I think the promotion was 40% off these items until the end of winter or something. There was a woman came up to me and asked me how to pay back the 40% when winter was over. I was genuinely confused and thought it was a joke, so I laughed. She was actually serious. She thought the very first day of spring or something, she had to come back to the store and give back the cash she saved from the 40% winter accessory discount. It was me. I'm with my wife's brother. The wife and I have known each other for over a year. Got married pretty quickly after she got pregnant 5 months into our. I know her family fairly well at this point. So I'm with her brother at his place to borrow a tool. It's just us. Don't have much in common with this guy I don't know all that well, and there's a silence. So I'm thinking, let's try to make conversation. How? So, you have any siblings? What day is 4th of July? I live in an apartment complex and they were doing updates and changed everybody's front door. My upstairs neighbor got locked out of his apartment. He knocked on our door and asked my father to open the door with his keys since we all have the same door. I tried to explain that we all have different locks, but he just couldn't get past that we all had the same door. My father ended up going upstairs to show him, and that's when he got it. It was so funny I think peed my pants a little from laughing so hard. A shopkeeper in America asked me what language people spoke in England. Also, the US landing card used to ask, are you traveling to the United States for the purposes of mass murder, genocide or ethnic cleansing? I mean, define your terms. Just how many counts as mass? When I was in 5th grade, a girl I'd known since she was in kindergarten, she was a year behind me, approached me and asked how I could do all that stuff with my left hand. I was dribbling a basketball at the time and was confused. She was genuinely curious as to how I was able to write with my left hand and stuff. I told her I was left-handed. She didn't get it. I had to explain to her what a dominant hand was. She was only 10, but for real. What? Probably not the stupidest thing, but just this morning I hit Mac's drive-thru and ordered my large coffee with 6 creamers and 4 sweeteners. They used sugar instead. I caught the error and asked for sweetener instead. They said I can just add more sugar if I want it sweeter. I explained I was talking about the artificial sweeteners, like what diabetics use, not real sugar. They said they don't carry anything like that, only real sugar or that other stuff like equal and sweet and low. I told them that other stuff is called sweetener and I had ordered my coffee with 6 creamers and 4 sweeteners. They asked if I just wanted them to add that to the coffee that they already put creamer and real sugar in to make it sweeter. I explained to them that I did not want any real sugar in my coffee, and asked them to make a new cup with only creamer and sweetener in it, no sugar. They looked confused and said, but this one already has sugar in it. And that's all for now. Make sure to like, subscribe and click that bell notification for more /Reddit network videos. Thanks and come again.